corner here. Let me see if I'm gonna be better off with it.
Can they hear us though?
I mean, they should. I'm sure it's not here as acoustic enough.
Acoustic, yeah, alright. Yeah, alright.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, alright.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, alright.
You know what I mean? Let me see.
Let go.
Yes, indeed. How you doing, folks? My name is John Moore, and you are listening to Don't Shoot the Messenger. At this moment, I do got a special guest just to start off the debut. And he go by the name of Mr. Christopher King. Hey, what's going on, Mr. King? How you doing?
What it do?
What's going on in your neck of the woods, my guy?
Yeah, man, we in your neck of the woods right now, baby. This is all right.
Hey, bro, this is my debut. Right. Like, you know what? For the first time, I just want to make sure people know about us and what we about as far as, like, outside day-to-day scales and this, that, and the third. So let's start off with you.
Shoot. Look, checking out this podcast thing we got going on. I seen a couple posts and flyers, Don't Shoot the Messenger, you know what I'm saying, with your face all on it. So I'm like, yo, let me see what's going on. You feel me? I know you always been like a mouthpiece, you know what I mean? So it's only right that you definitely finally got your platform where you could utilize that and, you know what I mean, stir something up. In the best way, though, get people thinking.
We known each other practically from eons,
It's been a break.
From a long, long time. And we practically watch each other grow, you know what I mean? And I like the fact that it's, especially in this day and age, we got a chance to become innovative within our skin and coming out into this world and try to make things happen in retrospect.
Yeah, things is definitely happening. And I would say this is in alignment. This is for surely in alignment. It was only a matter of time, I guess, right?
But listen,
it's only a matter of time.
Like it's all about diamonds in the rough, right? It's not the destination that you focus on; it's the duration, right? That's what builds character. You know what I mean? So many people feel as though when they have a particular goal, they expect it to be executed based on how they portray it. But they fail to realize this thing, what you call life, it definitely be lifing. You know what I mean? Like, in a retrospect, it will be a rapper, and they was like, yo, I was born to do this. So whoever I meet, they're going to have to put me on the platform. Man, by the time that dude go up on the platform, they be like, dog, we don't want to see you. We wish we didn't see you today. You know what I mean? Like, what is your purpose of being here in the first place? A lot of people can't get the constructive criticism because they expect a lot of people to just like for what they do. You know what I mean? And, and this is the life that we coming to right now. Like, it's like people don't have that much of a backbone to, like, be receptive on constructive criticism just to make their artistry better. Forget the music. It could be anything that you do, right? Because you don't go life off of validation, but at the same time, whatever you're selling, you basically want the public to be receptive, right?
Right.
And when it comes to the culture that we're in right now, a lot of people just like feeling so much within their, like, I deserve this, like, you on the other hand don't understand what I have to go through behind closed doors to do what I got to do. So you have no choice but to accept me. No, that's not how life goes.
Could you, I don't know, what do you think would put somebody in that mind frame, that state of mind to kind of think that they should be elevated to, a status that they haven't exactly they didn't put the work in for that status? What would even get somebody in that state of mind not even realizing that they kind of, I don't want to say that's like a selfish, but it's kind of a like narrow vision. It's kind of like a really narrowed vision. Just because you think that you have something to offer, you should be elevated to a point or to a status that just genuinely requires some effort and some work outside of just being talented.
It's just simple time. And that's how I see it. Like, people expect, especially when people feel as though, like, you know, this is the only thing that I do. Like, they don't have, like, a subordinate thing to do on a day-to-day basis. So I feel as though that's where they get whacked out. They feel as though they put all their heart into one thing. They feel as though the perfection is there. You understand?
So what? Okay, just an emotional connection to their craft. Okay, that's what.
Big time.
Emotional connection to their craft. You gotta get. I wish you like. That's cute. That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true, right? Yeah.
It's like you really wake up in the morning. That's the first thing you have in mind. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You ever feel as though like people?
That's a good start for sure. An emotional connection to your craft or your end goal. You gotta at least feel it in order to be driven by it to be compelled to act on it. And that's probably where the rest of the sauce is at, because a lot of people, despite how emotional you might be about, how talented you are, if there's not a whole lot of alignment happening at the same time, what can you really expect for real? And just having a top-down perspective of yourself, just being able to like step away from the game for a second to be top down and be like, well, have I been doing things that align with my goal or my craft? Or how have I been sharpening my sword? You know what I mean? And honestly, you know what I mean? Like, we're not spending every waking moment of our lives, you know what I mean, doing things to better ourselves, just being honest. But like in the overall sense, have we been doing the things that are going to generate the outcomes associated with the emotion? And that it's like everything in between is going to get you to that outcome. It's like, I'm trying to explain it like maybe like a timeline, I guess. Like at the very beginning of this timeline, you have a goal attached to an emotion, right? And then everything else in between on this timeline, in which your final stop being the goal, and that very same emotion, everything in between, I think that's where everybody get lost at. It's like, it's just goal, outcome, goal, outcome, goal, outcome.
Right. But the duration,
man, that's the best part. You supposed to. It's the journey. They say it's the journey that matters, not even really the destination. But it's everything. Because if you assume that you're going to get there anyway, right? Like if you set a goal and you already assume we're going to get there, that's going to happen. So what's going to happen in between? You know what I mean? That's where the juice is at. Everything that happens in between.
I'm sure you remember the show where we used to perform over at Adam Clayton Power Boulevard alongside.
That sounds familiar.
Basha Regine. Remember Basha Regine?
Oh yeah.
And we got invited to do that show over at the art gallery called Raw Space. And the conversation that we had afterwards, it was literally driven. I feel as though we made a pact from that night when Basha come out with it and said, "Listen, this artistry thing we're doing, you got to enjoy the journey."
For sure. For sure.
Like,
because then if it ain't no journey involved, and let's say people do just put you up on a pedestal for, your talents, it's not a whole lot of, it's no foundations really. So like you wouldn't really know what is like, you wouldn't, basically like think of it like this. All right, boom, best example. Think of it like this, right? You on the game, you playing the game. Do you really expect to beat the game 100%? Do you really expect to zero the game out with a baseline avatar. Like you got base armor, nigga. You got base armor. You got base attacks. You got base defenses. Like how could you really expect to win the game without developing your character? So it's like if
I feel as though the angle in this day and age is like what you may call.
If you were just put up on that pedestal, you wouldn't. There wouldn't be nothing to hold you up. Is what I'm saying.
Well, in the retrospect, rubbing elbows because it's being
that like, too. You wouldn't have no network to support you. You wouldn't have the experience to support you because at the end of the day, everything that happens in between is necessary.
Like prime example, right? The comparison between the musicians that we hear on a radio station this day and age that are A-list artists, right? From the 90s to now. It's a huge, huge change up when it comes to the talents, when it comes to the viewers receiving the talent. Prime example, coming up into the world of MTV, and we would have our fellow New Jersey artists like the Fugees along with Lauryn Hill and Wyclef Jean, and they're actually making it. They're making it happen for themselves. They're making it happen for the culture of New Jersey. And that major comparison to this day and age when it comes to artists that I feel as though as a public feel as though they don't deserve the platform, but they still on it as A-list artists. I feel as though that's mainly what's going on behind the scenes as far as rubbing elbows. You understand? It's like, prime example, and I'm going to put the women out there because y'all definitely need some edification when it comes to, how to present yourself in order for you to make money. Just because your 9 to 5 is not treating you very well doesn't mean that it give you the incentive to jump on OnlyFans to get that extra bread.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I'm going to have to stop you right there, my brother. It's a lot of ways to get money out here, man. Look, pick one. Pick one. It's a lot of ways to get money. Pick one. You feel me? Like, as long as you ain't upping on nobody, you know what I mean? You ain't robbing people per se. Not saying that I would condone whatever. I don't condone scamming and stuff, you know what I mean? But, like, it's a lot of ways to get money out here, man. Just pick one. If she gonna do OnlyFans, brother, my guy, you feel me? Like...
So you approve for a woman to just do OnlyFans in order for them to make their ends meet?
Absolutely, I would sponsor it. I would sponsor it. Not saying that I would pay for content or nothing like that, but I would sponsor it on the business end. You feel me? Like, hey, look, mutual marketing, basically. There you go. It'll be a mutual marketing scheme. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then social media, web presence, thing like that. We get our web presence going. She know her angles already, you feel me? But yeah, I would definitely, I'm not judging. Gotcha. Not at all. Now, the only thing I would judge is like, if you portray yourself to be somebody, you think that you above OnlyFans, but at the same time you on it in secrecy or something like that. Or, you looking down on people who are on the platform, but in secretly you on it yourself, something like that.
Like, one thing... It's my pet peeve on that. It's like the algorithm of it because, rumors had it when OnlyFans first came out, it's literally for people from different backgrounds. It could be an artist, you could be a musician, you could be a magician. And you basically have an OnlyFans so that your fans will tune in to see what you got going on.
Right.
Like basically converting into
innocent beginnings, humble beginnings, right?
Like a conversion of promiscuous use. You understand? And it's like, it's literally giving the media the incentive on like giving red flags on certain things, like when it comes to OnlyFans. So it's like a stigma in this day and age because a person that don't do none of that, but they would advertise themselves and say like, hey, if you want to catch my music and I'm promoting it on OnlyFans, they were like, ooh, was you going to show toes?
Right.
Like, why this guy promoting his junk on OnlyFans? Because the first thing that comes to mind is like promiscuous things. And And that's one thing that a lot of people like, they're stunned to like
only
understand.
in that things are at different timings. They at different frequencies. They vibrate at different times. So what I'm trying to really say is, it had origins doing something else. Now it's heavily involved in something else. But I think that because it didn't start as, what it is now, if they did a strategic campaign that kind of advertised themselves as like what they had started out to be, because we already know OnlyFans is for porn now. We know that. We like it's understood and it's established. But if they put together a campaign that reflects its original or its intended use, I think they would probably be successful, and it'd be like a multifaceted platform again. Or I guess not even again. It'll just be a little bit more because now people are going on they're returning to OnlyFans, but not for porno. They doing it they actually following an artist, or something like that. So I think OnlyFans as a platform is OP, baby. It's OP, and I ain't even mad at it. I don't make me one or something like that. Well,
you ever thought about being a part of OnlyFans?
Yeah, homie. Come on, for real. But I ain't cut like that. I don't, hey, looks.
Yeah, let me find out, Chris.
Look, man.
Let me find out.
Look, I ain't knocking nothing, bro. I'm not knocking anything. I'm trying to think of how I would have spun it though. Like how would I have did the OnlyFans? Nah, we're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk.
All right,
let's pivot. Let's
get into the topics, right?
Let's pivot.
So we got two major topics that we're gonna talk about for today, but we basically gonna warm y'all up into it. Just to start off of a word of affirmation. Hey, folks, I already know the economy is changing, and for those who's favored by the economy, kudos to you, and for those who's not, you always got time to build. You always got time to innovate yourself, to renovate yourself. Don't ever think that life is too short, and it doesn't matter what age you're in. You know what I mean? Like, your time is soon coming. You understand? Remember that. Implement on that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely gonna share you my point of view of my lineup of work as an electrician, and this is going back from the year 2016 after I graduated from Lincoln Tech, which is located on Vauxhall. Shout out to Lincoln Tech. Woo woo! And from there,
electrician work is OP.
You know what I mean?
It's OP for real.
You know what I mean? It's not bad at all. As long as you know your laws. As long as you know your safety rules, And from Lincoln Tech. And I graduated distinctively. And that's when I started my career. I tell you, it wasn't easy the first time around. It was not. I ended up traveling throughout the whole United States, and I got a chance to be exposed with different cultures, different backgrounds. And I learned to humble myself, and I'll be able to seek in what is the major purpose within my career. I know some people would jump on certain things just because the dollar sounds nice. Like, the money sounds nice. Like, oh my gosh, the benefit sounds nice. But once you actually want to say, you really don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. The first thing you think about doing, like, yo, I'm about to throw the white flag because I really thought everything that I envisioned was going to be how it's expected to be. But I didn't realize that I had to put too much work on it. Nah, you had to put too much work on it. And that's a lot of studies. Studies on top of studies. I went through my growing pains within my field of work, and from the time I was traveling from state to state, I'm starting to dive deep into my career path, and the pandemic came, the year 2020, and that's when I've been laid off. It was the most devastating thing that anybody could ever feel. I'll be transparent with you. I've been making like $2,000 a week from doing that, and you know what? I'm not even paying out of pocket when I go out of state when it comes to me wanting to buy anything.
You ain't getting on that unemployment money? You ain't getting no unemployment?
I got the unemployment, but I had to wait like.
Good,
Bro, it's like one thing about unemployment, they have you waiting, bro.
Hey, man, but it came though, right?
It came. But one thing about me, like, yo, I think it's a Sagittarius thing in me. Like, I was impatient for that season because, in a retrospect, like, you know, everything was upside down. Like, bro, groceries was literally open 2 days out of the week. The grocery shop, you know, like. The economy is already a disaster as it is, but during the pandemic, oh my gosh! Like,
man, let me tell you about my part of that pandemic, bro. Let me tell you something, bro. I had just got a job. The government and all that shut down? What, January, February, March? About like February, March. I got a job in December working security. I won't tell you where I was at, but it was cool. Got the job. Mind you, I had been beasting for about the whole year prior. We're talking about 2019 because I ain't have a job for like a year and some change. So I finally got the security job, chilling. Now, then the government shut down and everybody got sent home, right? And everybody got on unemployment, right? So now I'm like, well, damn, I just got a job and I was one of them, them necessary type workers, what's it called again?
Essential worker.
I was an essential worker because I was working security, so that means, you know,
right.
My job's still good. So I'm going to work and I'm making money and stuff, but on the sidelines, I'm hearing about people who would otherwise would never. They collecting unemployment and stuff, and I'm talking about big checks, like $600-$700 a week. You feel me? Like, and me, I'm like, dang, and I just got a job, you feel me? And I was beasting. Now, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? I was cool working and stuff like that because it was an interesting perspective to be outside amongst, you know, a shut down society. It was a ghost town, you feel me? But I just thought it was really ironic that, you know, shortly after getting employed, the whole society got sent home and got took care of. You feel me? So I'm like, damn. And got stimmies. You feel me? I only got 2 out of 3 of them Johns, and they came late.
That's one thing that I never gonna forget. Because listen, I was binge watching on Queen of the South, my guy.
I don't even know what that is.
Yo, if you don't know what it is, you could catch it on Netflix, my guy. Because my cousin and I, at that time, from 5 o'clock in the morning, he knocking the door like, yo, Queen of the South.
I'll tell you another thing. Right before, I mean, since we still on the whole just shutdown, and then when I guess we pivoted, I had dodged the bullet because I was supposed to work in the kitchen of a nursing home around that time too. And I worked in the kitchen for the nursing home for a little bit, and then I was like, you know what, this is really not my lane. And then again, you know what I'm saying? Not shortly after, everything got shut down, and nursing homes became like ground zero for that, you know. And I had a coworker who said that he was working in a nursing home as a cook and stuff like that, and everybody more or less died. So definitely dodged a bullet for that. I'm happy I was actually working security during COVID instead of working in a nursing home or something.
I'll tell you one thing. One thing I learned, especially when it comes to pandemic like these, that COVID-19 was no joke. For those who had a whole house, you know what I mean? Y'all get a chance to like isolate yourself with your family, this, that, and the third. That's all cute. But if you live in an apartment, nonetheless an apartment in Newark, yo, you would catch the EMT coming in and out of your apartment like it's crazy. You understand?
2020 was a good year. I don't care what nobody say.
It's a good year. And
I don't care what nobody say. You know why?
It's the worst year too.
You know why? Because it's like, I'm not saying like siphoning or process of elimination, but listen, bro. It just opens the door because every time we get ready to enter a new era, there's always a major event that's going to precede or is going to define the next decade. And we got a look at what it can be from a closed society standpoint, from a work from home perspective. A lot of people got savvy about business and opened a business. a lot of people utilize, tax codes and all types of other things to get ahead. So, and I feel like I missed out on that because meanwhile, everybody is taking advantage of this shift in society. I'm still doing Stone Age stuff, going to a 9 to 5, and we got everybody outside literally evolving and figuring out ways to get paid via themselves. And you can see the product of that now. A whole lot of, podcasters, newer businesses and things like that who got their start during the pandemic, and they'll tell you that it was a time for them to either evolve or get left behind for real.
Yeah, man. Nonetheless, like, people starting to edify themselves, saying like, "Yo, these jobs are not promising."
Yeah, because if they're gonna send me home because the government tells me to, then I should probably figure something else out. Because you never know when they're gonna try to do it again, and that threatens your livelihood. Like, I couldn't imagine being somebody who, put in decades at like a plant or something like that for everything to just implode, and then you get sent home with pretty much nothing. For real.
Like, the most shocker that I ever come across is Apple shutting down. Like, the whole industry of Apple shutting down. Like, when I heard that.
Well, you can't be too shocked about that because Apple is hand in hand with the government.
Right.
So it's like, whatever the government do, companies like Apple, fucking Tesla, the major players of the, the consumer game, they're going to follow suit with what the government is doing anyway.
Well, I feel as though, would you think?
It's like for some, there was like a handful of organizations.
Would you think? I wouldn't think that they would literally put it out there. It's up for us to do a deep research. But I'm just thinking out of the box. Would you think, like, an industry like Apple, they shut down because of the raw material they couldn't upkeep as far as the cobalt? That's like one of those raw material that keep our phones working, keep our laptop working.
No.
You know what I mean?
Nope, absolutely not.
So what would you think would be like the foundation of them closing down for that particular time? Because of all companies, I feel as though like Apple should be thriving throughout.
Because it's not about they say so or not, really. If the government asked them, the government said we shutting everything down. We ceasing all operations. The FAA, they shut down airports and everything like that. You shut down airports, you think. So, like, I don't think it was anything about trying to stock up on raw materials in the meantime, even though they could have. I could imagine they probably did, But it's like one of those overarching things, but it was a little government shut. I don't think they had a real incentive to really stay open. And plus, the government got to send a message, and everything has to be in a certain alignment. So,
right.
With that message, it's that, like, listen, this can happen, and this is something that can happen, and you should probably comply, type of thing. Like,
yeah. But overall, 2020 was a ratchet season. Ratchet season, I can say, where there's a lot of death was displayed. A lot of chaos.
But let's pivot to the main topic today.
So that's the reason why I'm gonna convert into that topic from the cobalt into what's going on worldwide, as far as Burkina Faso.
Bro, I'm gonna let you take this over because from my perspective, it's geopolitics, and geopolitics is always interesting to me.
Yeah.
But I just have a hard time making the connections to how does it trickle down to me today.
It has a lot to
right
do
now,
with it.
tomorrow, type of shit. Like,
mainly when it comes to allyship, right? And this what shows when you burn bridges, you won't be able to receive certain things when it comes to media of exchange coming from different countries, not only different continents. And what I'm talking about in particular is between America and Africa, places in particular like Congo, Burkina Faso.
what do we do over there?
So
What do we have over there though? Like, what aside from Gates doing whatever he do with vaccines and stuff like that on an ongoing basis, as far like with trade, what is it that we're not doing for Africa.
So what we're not doing is to respect the whole continent of Africa, because after all these years down in history, America, their main agenda for Africa is to keep them stabilized, like unstabilized. And whenever they want to be stabilized, America would give them fear of sanctions or give them fear that we may cause war on you if you don't play your part. There was one ambassadress that basically represents, I forgot what part of Africa in particular, but I remember hearing her and she said, listen, Americans, if you don't come in here with your tails between your legs, just like how China and Russia came in when they was asking for our raw materials, we won't trade you nothing. One thing I can say, and coming from an American, we have done a lot to places like in Africa. Like we done a lot. That
So what, you
would
guilty,
make 'em
cuz?
pissed.
What you guilty?
I mean,
you on a guilt trip, Conan?
I gotta represent because that's how you understand.
You
acknowledge.
feel personally responsible for what's happening over there right now?
I know that when I get out of the house, I am not of the animosity of what's going on between America and Africa. But I feel as though I am a part of the vessel of the chain of command. You understand?
How so?
As far as the economy,
How so?
as far as raw materials, as far as how it could come about without the allyship of other countries like Africa in particular. Because this is what make the worlds go round, right?
Bro, how is being an ally with Africa right now gonna get me paid tomorrow? Today, dog. Like, or how is it gonna stop me from getting paid tomorrow, today?
It won't stop you because money is there to be made.
Look,
But at the same time, like when it comes to necessities, right? We all need each other.
okay, agree. We all need each other.
We all need each other. And I'm going.
Everybody don't need each other like in this sense like this.
in
Because
this
look.
case, we
Africa don't. What do Africa need from America? Cuz
So that's the thing.
what does Africa need from America?
But here's the thing: Africa don't necessarily need America.
Thank you. So we don't all need each other.
But there's another way around.
Another way around what?
America openly need Africa when it comes
How
to these
so?
things. Raw materials, bro. Listen, you won't get rubber anywhere else other than Africa. You won't get cobalt anywhere else other than Africa. You won't get majority of these things if it wasn't for Africa. You understand? And you got to realize, like, when it comes to the UN, when they have a meeting and they would sit down and come up with different ways to, like, you know, how they could come across to, like, get what they need through Africa, they're not talking about building chemistry. They're talking about trying to assassinate people. For example, Ibrahim Traore, the man that is operating Burkina Faso as of right now. What he's doing, he's basically like renovating the place. He's opening the public eye and saying, like, listen, we've been claimed to be the most poorest part of Africa after all these years. But if we're the most poorest Africans, then why is it that France still here? Like, why are y'all still here? You understand? And that's just basically giving a whole shock throughout the whole world and throughout the whole media. Like, yeah, you're right. If you claim these type of parts are poor, why are you guys still here?
Bro, this is all out of alignment. Because don't get me wrong. Like, what Traore is doing, that's the name? Traore?
Yeah, Ibrahim Traore.
Right. He lit right now, bro. What he's doing is he's opening his nation to the market. He's he's making his nation someone to be recognized on the market that we are actually self-sustainable in ways that y'all probably couldn't imagine.
Are you aware that Ibrahim Traore had like a whole car factory? Like
I was just about to say that.
They didn't have that like last year.
So with all that stuff, regardless of who built the factory, who helped them build it, if they built it on their own by themselves, They presenting themselves on the world stage that they have what it takes to play the game, which is respect.
And it's funny how they making all that build up after they kick out the French colonizers.
Which is respect.
You understand?
Which is respect.
So in a retrospect, we have to come into a common conclusion that, yeah, certain parts of the world can find ways to like keep another parts of the world stagnant based off of like their medium exchange, and we want y'all to specialize this and this alone.
Which is respect, bro. Which is respect.
You understand? So in a retrospect, in return, you have America not trying to build chemistry. I'm going back to that. They're just trying to find ways to assassinate the brother. Just because they feel as though, oh, he's diverting the economy. Because remember, this is part of the economy, bro.
Bro, but you're not an economist.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason why I gotta challenge the fact. Because it's like, we could fantasize about the story, and it's commendable, bro. And it is a lesson to be learned, and everybody should be inspired to be as, you know, relentless as the leader is. You feel me? As far as, hey, look, I'm here to play. I have what it takes to play the game. You know, me and my team, we're self-sustainable. We can do this. But outside of all of that, like, if you're not directly tied up in the markets where, like, you are actively investing in cobalt. You are actively investing in the minerals mined from there. Like, you actually have investments. You're on the market. You're making trades, and you have actual skin in the game as to what happens or what doesn't happen over there. Like, who's manufacturing over there, who's not manufacturing over there. Like, we romanticizing this idea that, or we romanticizing the fact that they pulling up by their bootstraps. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I think we're getting lost in the sauce, because it's like, if you don't have what it takes, if you're not even participating in that game, like, it's kind of like vanity to me, for real. Like, if you so involved in a specific thing, but you don't really have a way to, like, to play type of thing, you know what I mean, or to really make a difference, or to add on to it. So it's like, I think if you're not in a certain position, geopolitics is a spectator's game, you feel me? And all we could do is speculate, critique, give people their accolades, and take away and actually implement some takeaways from what's happening, you know, from leaders who are respectable, type of thing. Because at the end of the day, bro, that's well beyond what America trying to assassinate other leaders and stuff so that they could perpetuate this failing dollar system. You know, that's way beyond me, homie. Like, that's so far out my range. It's like, why even give it that much energy?
I'll tell you why. Because just the other day, I was just talking with some random person that coming out of Wyoming, and a sweet individual, and she put it out there like, "Yo, I'm trying to understand why America over here fixated on Burkina Faso and their cobalt, while we have a buttload of them here in Wyoming."
That's also what I was about to say. Like, we have everything here already,
but here's
on the
thing.
continental United States.
So
that's
the pro. That's the pro. But here's the con. The reason why they're not operating the mining in Wyoming because the money. No, it's because America's broke in that department. Do you know that they basically have to pay $1 million a month in a contract in order for them to keep the mining contract? This have nothing to do with distributing the money for the employees. It's just to keep the contract stand.
So again, what you just said about paying to keep the contract, it's like, in that case, boom, there's no incentive really to do it here. It can be done here, but there's no incentive to do it here because of, like, what, bureaucracy and rules and stuff like that. If they don't want to pay $1 million a month for the contract, okay, I wouldn't want to pay $1 million a month for the contract neither. If it was up to me to mine cobalt right here in the United States.
So you're saying your subordinate thing is to like make war, in other words, steal from somewhere else.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I can understand the incentive to not even do it here. But what should probably happen is they need to go back into them offices where they write all the rules and stuff, and where they draft all these contracts about who bids and who can actually get the contract to mine and this, that, and the third, and make it more favorable for the organizations right here in the United States to mine the cobalt that's right here in the United States.
Understood. Understood.
So it's like, for a lot of stuff, I don't even think it's like for the sake of, oh, we America, we're just going to go pillage and take shit because we can. There's a lot of rules here in America that keep people from doing business here because it's just not incentivized. So for the same reason, just like you said, the contract is $1 million a month. Who the heck wants to pay $1 million a month on the contract to do something, right? Right? So like they got to do that. They got to do it somewhere else. They go get Africa stuff. And the thing about the whole, with the thing about Africa being a major resource for the rest of the world, the terms and conditions haven't always been favorable for Africa, clearly, right? Clearly, right? The terms and conditions under which other nations go to Africa for resources, the terms and conditions hasn't always been fair. Now, to be fair, none of that had to be signed. They could have just not signed any of that. Because as a provider, right? If you're gonna be a provider of goods or a service, you could neglect to sell. You could not sell. I could not. France want to come over here and do this. I could not sign the document, bro. So we gotta also go from a standpoint. I was like, it's not the fact like oh, Africa being taken advantage of because other people are just doing it, bro. The leadership in Africa is also corrupt. So you gotta think about it. If you have a leadership with the incentive to do something kind of that's bad, or they're going to do it anyway, and it's not going to benefit their people, all they care about is the agreement and whatever they about to do because they want to whatever, then that's on their leadership. A lot of that stuff ain't had to get signed. They could have just not signed it.
What influenced the leadership? That's what it comes down to. You understand?
Nah, look. No.
It has a lot. Let me tell you something.
You talking about what influenced the leadership?
Right.
It's greed.
Where's the greed coming from?
A greedy individual, and it ends there. Some greedy African. Let's keep it 100 bands.
What makes the African greedy?
Let's keep it 100 bands. Let's keep it 100 bands.
Keep in mind, they don't operate for themselves, Bro. They operate for outside.
Bro.
That's the reason why they had to kick out France.
Bro, let's keep it 100 bands, bro. Let's keep it 100 bands. I'm not saying that all that stuff is self-inflicted, but what I'm saying is you gotta dance with the devil, feel me? The devil ain't just going to take you and drag you, you feel me?
Mind you, the guy who's over at Ivory Coast, he's working hand in hand with the France just to do a little assassination on Ibrahim Traoré. That's a prime example.
What?
When it comes to influence from outside of the country.
What?
You understand? Of the Ivory Coast president.
What about him?
Being influenced by the French government. That's the reason why he's basically doing it. He's attempting to do an inside job of assassinating Ibrahim Traoré.
So what are you saying? You saying it's French for influencing the dude?
It's concrete, yes.
Bro, you wildin', bro. You wildin'. If I influence you to do something right now,
why is France on his way, right? To try to make war.
Bro, you could be influenced, but you could also just not respond. You could also just not be influenced to do it. Like, if you know that that's not in the best interest of your nation and your people, then why proceed?
Because of weak mind.
Okay, of who? The individual. So let's stop trying to blame other people for other people either just not having the fortitude to do what's in the best interest of their situation.
But it's not the person. It's that person. Because
now we just deflecting. Now we just
it starts with the what you may call. It's a chain of command. Okay, it starts with the office. It starts with their agenda. You understand? Prime example, you're a president of the United States. Everything that you promise to the people. Do you think that you'll be able to navigate as you're in office? No, you're gonna have to make sure that whatever is the agenda in the office, you got to apply on that first. And if you do have the cabinet to be on your side to do this, that, and whatever that you promise the people, that's when you'll be able to do so. But apparently, that's not fortunate in countries like Ivory Coast because they've been influenced over France after all these decades. You understand? So it's not about the individual. It's about how everything is structured over time. And the world is now seeing it for what it is. You know?
And I think a lot of Americans need to focus on being Americans.
And I can agree on that, man.
100%.
But let me tell you something.
A lot of Americans need to focus on being
prime
Americans.
example. My question is to you, right, Chris? How can Americans, right, focus on being Americans when we have the media that's lying to us? Because when it comes to media, right, the media is supposed to be an instrument to make us well-informed.
So that's where you got to evolve. Here we're going to break this thing down,
right?
Because we're going to stop depending on outside influences to drive our inner body, our inner light. We're going to stop depending on the media. We're going to stop depending on a left-right standpoint, okay? And we're going to focus on what's best for yourself. My favorite term is do what's best for the company. That is me. Do what is best for the company. So it's not about following what the media says because we already understand that it's all askew anyway, all right? Whatever you see on the TV, 10 out of 10 times, it's a form of propaganda to get you swayed in a certain direction. So we're gonna get into, let's focus more on being American, bruh. Whether you're an electrician, whether you're a small business owner, whether you still go to a 9 to 5, what does it mean to focus just being American, bro? That means one. Identify a goal for yourself. First, you got to identify your goal for yourself. Then after you identify what it is that you want in the long term, like your end game, then you have to start aligning yourself with certain elements that's going to better prepare you to get to your end game. So let's kind of put a magnifying glass on that, right?
Right.
If you want to be like super gung ho about it, as far as like people just wanted to be an American, let's start with like, okay, outside of your normal lifestyle, boom, your 9 to 5 job or your daily grind, your hustle, right? Stop allowing. I would stop allowing myself to be lied to. I would pick up a book or something. I would pick up like, what's it? The Declaration, Independence, and all that other stuff. I would just, you know what I mean? Because if you want to have a stance in anything, bruh, you best be knowledgeable about the stance you about to take, for sure. So go read your book. You feel me? Definitely, and don't even get too historical about it. What you should read are like codes, other like, I forget what they call it, but it's like a case study of past court cases of which parties won and why, and just become familiar with the law, the U.S. Constitution, all the types of stuff like that. So then you can at least come from a standpoint that like, you've at least read it, you kind of understand it, and you can digest it type of thing. Because then you're going to understand that like this whole American thing, this whole identity thing, America, it's like, bro, like it's literally like, it's just a badge for real. It's a badge, right? And you are who you are like before even wearing that badge. But like people like are losing the sense of what it means to just be an American, and they associating it with everything negative that they possibly can, right? So if you're going to continue to have this in a negative light, of course, that's just what it's going to kick back at you. You feel me? you give what you get what you give. If it's gonna be negative, it's gonna be negative. You feel me? If this country ain't done nothing for you, it hasn't done nothing for you, won't do nothing, it's gonna continue to not doing nothing for you because that's the programming you gave it. Period. So what I'm saying is, it's like people gotta want to actually just elevate themselves a little bit, because all this disalignment and stuff, we losing touch with the next person type of thing. Like, we losing touch with people, and we're joining certain communities and stuff that we don't even really have no business in. You know what I'm saying? And then the truth about it is, bro, like, your neighbor is your neighbor, son. Black, white, Chinese, Mexican, you feel me? And the only reason why somebody else would think negatively about you is because the TV told them to do that shit. You feel me? Right? Or they, you know what I mean? It's part of their programming. It's not even innately how they are type of thing. People just gotta just evolve through the ignorance. You feel me? If you can evolve through the ignorance, you're gonna see a lot of stuff for what it really is, for real, for real. And it's not gonna rub you the wrong way no more.
Indeed.
It's not gonna rub you the wrong way because you just see it how it is. It's like, oh dang.
I agree.
That's how that is. So it's like every time they try to sell you they want people to be rubbed wrong by the term like make America great again. They want you to feel emotion. They want, when you hear that, they want your blood to boil. You feel me? They want you to be disturbed in your soul when you hear that, make America great again.
Highly guilty, because I be getting tensions in my head whenever I hear that.
But the truth is, bro, just like life, bro, you assign it what you gonna assign it, and it will be that. You feel me? So it's like, okay, you can hear that, and you can automatically be emotionally attached to, you know, slavery, and go, oh, when was America ever really great? This time the third, you could do that. You feel me? You're free to do that. You feel me? But it don't.
First Amendment.
It don't help. It don't really help the cause though, because
right.
It's just it's like a stagnant kind of degenerative way of existing, and especially being so far displaced from that event, you know, in the linear timeline, like type of shit. It's like we perpetuating something. We're perpetuating a negative outlook, and it's not gonna help nobody for real. So it's like, in turn, look, we got the U.S., which is more or less failing right now. So not only are we failing economically, we're failing as a society because we don't have any more patriots. There's no patriots anymore. So in return,
I mean, I feel as though there's lack of patriots because majority of them is either getting locked up or they're in the streets.
Bro, I'm talking about the mindset. I'm not talking about anybody physical. I'm talking about like the mindset. There's nobody out here like on no patriotic jar. And if you come outside overly patriotic, then it's a problem. Like, oh well, what has America done for you? Da da da. It's like, bro, like, listen, man. All that animosity and all that, it's exhausting. It really is exhausting to be that spiteful and to be that bitter about any particular subject all the time. Like, even just because I used to feel that way, you feel me? It's just taking it out of the center of my chest right now. Like, to be in that state of mind all the time, bro, not even realize, it's like, bro, wake up and look around, son. Like, this is not the worst place to be ever. You know what I mean? You have the freedom to talk however you want to talk about whichever leader, whoever he is, her, he, without getting your tongue chopped off,
or like decapitated,
right? Without getting decapitated,
have a Colombian necktie,
right? You feel me? It's a million ways to get bread out here. Just pick one, right?
OnlyFans.
As far as like, come on, look, wait, no, I'm trying to make it for real point. Check this out.
Indeed.
Check this out.
Right.
We got the same group of people who we've given extended rights to, right? They have the right to start whatever type of family structure they want. They have the right to teach their children whatever they want, right? They have a right to choose and assign genders, right? But at the same time, people are oppressed. People are lacking certain freedoms. They can't do this, that, and the third. So it's like you can't wear it. You can't have this. You can't have it both ways. You can't have the freedom to one, change your gender, decide that you're gonna teach your kids alternate history and all this other stuff, and then say this is the worst place ever to be, because we've extended rights to a lot of groups of people. You know what I mean? So it's like, for people to be like, oh, bump America, this, that, and the third, wow, they done given rights away. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of an oxymoron, right? It's kind of opposite. It don't really make a lot of sense. So it's like, people got to choose their battle, and they got to choose their programming. Because how you going to walk around with a particular programming that doesn't even reflect your actual reality, like your real life and actual reality type of thing, right? I could easily been like, oh, I was never successful in aviation because the white man don't want me there. Da 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 da. But you know what I mean? Well, that's not true though. It's not true.
Right.
I had my shot. You feel me? I took some different paths, and I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. So I fell short for other reasons.
You're your own greater friend before you are your own worst enemy.
That's a fact.
You know?
That's a fact. So it's like, a lot of things. It be about how you want to see the situation for real, instead of how the situation really is, because just that emotional attachment be feeling good. Mm-hmm. You feel me? And then you got a community of people behind you who gonna back you up in that. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Like it's in the popular club. Like it's pop. This is popular culture. You feel me? And right now, what's pop culture is like justice. You know what I mean? People want to see action. People want justice. People want to be heard. People want representation. You feel me? And when I say that it's popular, I don't diminish it. You know what I mean? It's literally just an observation. There's more than ever, you see a lot of people outside, you know what I mean, crusading for whatever they believe in and having talking points on the things that get them going the most, just like this with the geopolitics and stuff. Like, what's happening over in Africa is monumental, because when they start being, when Africa gets to itself, when it's self-sufficient, like I would say like 75% self-sufficient, even 60% self-sufficient, they're going to be on the world stage in a large way, because it's going to be a different game, bro. You know why? Because they are going to have the opportunity to utilize the upcoming technology that's coming. And a lot of the tech is not coming from the U.S. Let's just be honest. The tech is not coming from here per se. So they allies, Korea, where the tech come from and all the other stuff, they're going to have premier technology. They're going to have premier infrastructure, okay? They're going to have a driven government body, because it's going to be like for the people, by the people, finally, type of shit. So the continent of Africa in and of itself is going to be like a metropolis type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean, 2050 type, when, well, you know, consequentially, the Western world is going to take a back seat for a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's what the powers that be here in the United States are fearful of. And that's why
2050.
Something like that.
Because Nigeria definitely gonna be like robust in 2030.
Something like that.
Like
no, by 2050, that's the last nail in the coffin. Everything is pretty much established, said and done. The foundations have been laid, and the plan is pretty much in full swing by 2050.
Indeed.
As far as the power shift. And yeah, consequentially, I think I'm saying that word wrong, but you know, the Western world and its values may take a back seat for real, and then people gonna have to realign. So I mean, let's say maybe in foresight, like I could understand, but it's again, if nobody who's tuned into this geopolitics thing is actually actively planning on realigning and eventually taking up residence somewhere on the continent, you feel me, and actually establishing a foothold or footprint and actually residing there for the long term, I think it's kind of just, it's an interesting talking point for real.
Yeah,
it's an interesting talking point.
I have a I have a high interest because of my lineup of work, and I do have the skill set to teach, like, especially the new generation to come, because we come into an understanding that primitive work, as far as like, everyday trades of plumbing, electrical, construction working, and apart from that, you got agriculture itself. It's starting to be a trend thing once again, based by the shortage and based by being aware of, the toxic things that is being injected in our foods. Like people is getting cancer based off of eating food. You understand? People starting to have some crazy reaction off of eating food. And that alone has to be like a wide change in the mindset within Americans around our neck of the woods. Because we live our whole life off of convenience. Everybody can agree on that. Never once in our life we thought about building cattle, thought about investing on a chicken coop in your backyard. You understand? Instead of you going to the grocery shop to pick up some eggs, you can simply go in your backyard and harvest your own. You understand? Like, I'm looking forward to see what America have to offer in the next couple of years, because it's going to be a wide change when it comes to mindsets. And I'm hoping for the better. Yep. I feel as though that is it for today, y'all. You already know what it is. It's your boy John Moore and our special guest. And my boy, he's more likely going to come in every now and then. And you know what I mean? It's about that. It's about that time. So, you know what I mean? And my boy Chris, like, seem like you're comfortable on the mic. So it seems like I'm going to have to, like, invite you every now and then. What you think about that?
Look at me. I am the captain now. I am the captain now.
I'm impressed. It seems like you took over the floor, and and I'm thankful for the fact that you came through. I'm thankful for the fact that you shared the viewers your point of view on the lifestyle that we're dealing with, and it's something to talk about.
Yeah, I like this. This is cool. This is the first time I'm doing, and I just want to make it crystal. You know what I mean? I'm not downplaying. The continent's uprise, because every dog has his day, you feel me? The continent has been, they've been taken advantage of for the longest. And it's refreshing to see a nation, do their thing and actually play the game kind of, independent of some other nations, and kind of, liberating themselves and being like, theme of the thing is, just playing the game on their own. So I'm not downplaying it at all, type of thing. Just saying, let's just be aligned for real. Like, and let's take away. There's plenty of takeaways of what we can do to activate. You know what I mean? And how we can prepare for what's coming up. Shoot, you might really want to see what it's like on some real estate in Africa. See what it's like, because at the end of the day, you gotta have a little escape plan for real. And that might be viable, because Africa is 100% gonna be a metropolis by 2050.
Indeed.
100%. They're gonna have better infrastructure. They're gonna have better roads, better bridges. They're gonna have they already getting light. Akon and get them light. Like, how long ago type of shoot?
Yeah, like a decade ago.
And there's still stuff coming up. I think there's a young man in Africa right now who's turning plastic into gasoline.
I believe it's in America, my guy.
Oh, that's in America? Okay, yeah. He done turned plastic into gasoline. And no, they got stuff. They doing stuff. They turning bottles into something. They turning all stuff. They be turning bottles into
diesel,
stuff.
like petrol.
Yeah, turning the.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep. Turning rubber into stuff. So
in fact, sure. I forgot the brother's name, but he was in Chicago. He was demonstrating that.
Man, I wish we could have talked more a little bit about why it is that that continent is being stifled. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, for all the innovations that comes from there, you would think that a lot of it would be mainstream. So the real people or the real organizations to blame for this are the monopolies who got their hands tied into, how we trade, what we trade, and the whole consumer sector for real. So it's like, if what you just invented, if that, with what you just came up with, if that threatens what I got going on already, then yeah, we can't allow that to happen. I think that's what's going on. We have old power structures hanging on for power and not allowing innovations to, we're not allowing people to innovate. That's why.
You already know.
Yeah. So
Yo,
we're not gonna let you innovate.
It's your boy Chris King in the building. You already know. And it's your boy Job Moore. And we're going to catch you on the updates pretty soon. So stay tuned until then. This is Don't Shoot the Messenger. Yeah.
Don't shoot me, please.
Let's get it. Catch y'all soon.
Jump, wake up and get straight to this bread. She getting cut off if she leave me on red. Poppin' that got me shaking my head, but I make her come, got her shaking her legs. Don't misquote me, cause that ain't what I said. Never fall off, I don't play by this bread. Never fall off, I don't play by this bread. Never fall off, I don't play by this bread. Heard that you lie in the bed that you make, but these niggas just lie, they ain't making they bed. Free my cousin, he got caught with 20 bricks. That got dip, he went straight to the feds. Bad this little chick, she got straight from the bridge. Took her on a few dates and went straight to her head. You heard that I came up with Chris, but I got Louboutins on the strip, yeah, I'm painting it red. Fuck a cosign, I'ma make it instead. On the set, let her play in my dreads. Man, this pistol got so much bodies. When I hold a strap, I be raising the dead. My chains cost so much money because my chains are ancient and rare. 13 G's for the piece, designing one for the label. I'm thinking ahead. Any girl that's giving up, asses is getting caught up, walking straight to the ledge. I can't grieve, I've been thinking success. She can't leave, she complain to her ex. She can't leave, no. Without me, she can't breathe, no. I show her it's better just living life natural, ain't wearing no weave. Whoa. Know everything when it come to this, I don't play with no keys. No, did everything when it come to the block, I became an OG. Whoa, get off of work, then I work on my craft, then go move some work.